Joining us now, Congressman Steven Palazzo. He represents Mississippi's 4th District. Good morning, Congressman.
Hey, good morning, Gerard. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. So you got a primary coming up here pretty soon. Wanted to get you to come on and talk about your service in the U.S. House of Representatives and what you're looking forward to, I should say, to continue in that role, and why you think the voters ought to send you back to Washington.
Well, Gerard, yes, thank you for having me on, and thank you for the opportunity. Every 2 years we have to interview for our job, and so we get an opportunity to make a case for why they should hire us or why they should retire us. And I believe, being the only candidate with a proven conservative voting record in Congress resonates with my constituents. They know I'm pro-gun, I'm pro-life, I'm pro-business. Hopefully they know I was instrumental in helping fund the wall through my Homeland Security Committee in 2019, and I've also been able to protect the funds from being stripped away by the Democrats through my committee on appropriations. And it's being one of the few veterans left in Congress. I'm able to advocate for our military unlike any of my opponents could ever think of doing, and also care for our veterans and their families. Again, just proven voting record of making sure that flood insurance remains affordable and available. Caring for our military installations has been a huge priority of mine. People, they have short memories, but sometimes you got to remind them. I mean, we literally were losing 10 C-130Js from Keesler Air Force Base when I first got to Congress, and it took 3 years, but we were able to fight back and push back against the Air Force, and we kept those 10 C-130Js here in South Mississippi because what's an air base without airplanes, right?
Unreal.
Kind of scary. Yeah. But the voters have invested in me for 12 years. I've got the right relationships to make things happen for South Mississippi. I've got the seniority to be chairman of the Homeland Security Committee next year, and I'm on the best committee for Mississippi, and that's the Appropriations Committee, which has been the lifeblood of our state for generations. I'm the first one from the South Mississippi in over 100 years to serve on appropriations, and I'll probably likely be the last member because, it's a very competitive committee. And so I don't think voters want to, they have a choice, right? They could start over from scratch, or they could double down, and we can keep working hard for South Mississippi and their families.
Yeah, so I know you've served, Congressman, you've served in situations where you've had the majority in the House. You've served, obviously, in situations where you don't, although the gap is fairly narrow right now. All indications are that the Republicans are going to retake control of the House. What's on your radar? What's on your agenda once that occurs?
Well, absolutely. The tea leaves definitely show us retaking the House and taking the majority and hopefully winning the Senate. We're going to do what we did against Barack Obama. We're going to be slow but steady repairing the damage that they've done and also block any further damage. Energy and going back to energy independence is a huge goal of mine. I've actually been fortunate to be able to work offshore, and what's driving our inflation right now is the failed policies of the Biden administration, starting with his war on energy, on American energy. So we have to drill here, we have to drill now, get the prices down so people can, breathe and have more money in their checking accounts. But when we take the majority, I've been in Congress long enough, and seniority matters in Congress. It matters in the military, and seniority matters in Congress. I'm going to be in a position to be the chairman of one or two or three committees. I don't know which one. I'm pushing for Homeland Security, which is my best fit because of my defense background and my Homeland Security. And so if I become chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, and it looks like there's a very good chance that will happen if I'm sent back to Congress, my number one priority is, we have to secure our southern border. Joe Biden's number one priority a couple weeks ago was tackling inflation. Obviously, he doesn't have a clue how to do that. But my number one priority is securing our border, stopping the flow of these deadly drugs that are killing our children at record levels because of the Chinese fentanyl-laced operations that are being run out of Mexico. Stop the pedophiles and the felons, and just stop the invasion at our southern border. Because if we don't do this and we don't do it fast, we're all going to become a border state. I don't want Mississippi to turn into a border state.
Yeah, it's that seems to be a high priority issue for a lot of Republicans, and I certainly agree with that and appreciate that. What do you think you're hearing, or not? What do you think? What are you hearing from voters? What are you hearing from constituents? What's on their minds? What's their top priorities?
Well, to get rid of President Biden is their number one priority. I mean, they see it. They're smart. And I think the independents and even Democrats are waking up to the realities that the progressives do not have solutions to the problems that are facing them. I mean, everything that the progressive Democrats are doing right now under Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and Charles Schumer is bad for their constituents. And so it baffles me that they have this culture of death, that they want to murder unborn babies. They want to take our guns away from us, but they want to keep us under this COVID umbrella, but yet they won't secure the border. They won't drill here. We were energy independent 2 years ago. It allowed us to achieve a historic peace agreement. Gas was under $2 a gallon. And that historic peace agreement was because we didn't have to beg the OPEC cartels to help Israel and some of its Arabic neighbors reach a peace agreement. And so it's just they recognize it's the inflation, it's the cost of goods, it's the fact that our government is still paying people to not work, and they want less regulations, they want less taxes, but this administration is going in the opposite direction.
Yeah. So, Congressman, the 4th District primary, the Republican primary, is intriguing from the perspective of having, I think, the largest number of candidates in the primary, and that's coming up here in a couple of weeks. Have you done some polling? Do you feel like you can win outright without a runoff at this point? How's it looking?
We did some polling back in December, polled all our opponents, and we were sitting at 67%. My opponents think South Mississippians are dumb. And I'm here to tell you, South Mississippians are not dumb. They see through the political theater. They see through, what's being said, and they know that I show up to work in D.C. They know I show up to things in the district. Sometimes people forget that they did hire me to go to Washington, D.C., so I'm not always in South Mississippi. But, boy, I wish I was in South Mississippi on a beautiful day like this more often. But they know that I'm fighting for them and their families. I've got the only proven conservative record. I've never given money to Democrats. I've never, I'm a conservative Republican, always have been. And, again, from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, that, we led that in 2017. They brought us a record economy. We rebuilt our military after 8 devastating years of Barack Obama. And then obviously COVID happened and we came out with a Democrat president. But, I've fought off Democrat presidents before, and we're gonna tackle this administration and keep them from doing even more damage. And so, being from South Mississippi, being in the military, and just being available, I'm aware of the issues that affect South Mississippians, and it makes me a better advocate for them in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, and it's coming up here pretty soon, and there's a lot of stuff going on in Washington and across our nation. Again, is there anything that you would place as a priority? I know you've talked about the Americans and certainly South Mississippians concerned about inflation, et cetera, and their pocketbooks. Got crime, the border. What about our foreign situation? Got about a minute and a half left.
Yeah, our foreign situation, unfortunately, is a man-made disaster, and it was made by President Biden. When we withdrew from Afghanistan, that was the worst possible way to withdraw our troops. Our enemies were watching. Our friends felt betrayed, but yet we did it anyway. I mean, even as the Taliban was riding into Bagram and all these places, that put Putin and China on notice that we have a feckless and weak commander in chief. And so, if you recall, last time we had a weak commander in chief, a Democrat. Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014. Well, guess what? 2022.
A lot of work to do.
Yeah, a lot of work, and so it's we got to rebuild our military, and we have to have a patriotic commander in chief that can lead this country.
Appreciate you coming on, Congressman. Good luck in the primary and the rest of the campaign. We'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. God bless.